So, it's your girl Katarina here, and well, people always complain of how late I do my live streams on here typically. So, what I'm gonna do is do an earlier live. And now, if I get the complaints, it's like it's still kind of early. It's like 5:30 Mountain Time, which not super late on the East Coast or anything like that. So, anyways, yeah, and also I gotta change the chat settings because it always does this to me. There we go. Perfecto. So, how's it going, everybody? It's your girl Katarina here, and well, we are here to chat about cars and stuff and with a fluffy duck. That's kind of what we do here, and it's always wonderful when it comes to that. Like, there is some stuff that I'll be able to do like next year, which is gonna be like fantastic. There'll be stuff that's gonna be coming down the pipeline for videos very soon, actually. Likely do a brake job on my dad's truck. I mean, at the very least, the front brakes. We'll see about the back brakes. I gotta inspect them to see if he actually needs back brakes. It's not a bad idea to do them all at once, but if you're gonna do some brakes, it's better to do the front than the rear. I also got to do a review of the Mucar um, OBD2 scanner. So that'll be another video that will be coming up. We're also sponsored by them now, so there'll be like a discount code and all that stuff that you guys can get if you want to use their products. And yeah, beyond that, Also, hey, Will Dog, how's it going, man? So there's that. I gotta swap out to the winter tires on Stitch. I don't know if I'll do that as a full video. That might just be like a short because it's not very entertaining to watch somebody change out tires typically. And it's like a super quick job. So there's that. My buddy of mine though, he's looking into getting there. It's actually for sale out in the market right now. It's a Subaru. Which, if you don't know what a Subaru is, so Saab and Subaru had a partnership back in the early 2000s. And they essentially, the Saab 93X is just a Subaru with Saab badging and slightly different suspension on it. But it's literally a Subaru WRX wagon. And it's pretty cool, honestly. Like, a very cool vehicle overall. Not something you see every day, and he's looking to pick that up probably after this weekend. So if he does get it, he's gonna let me know, and then who knows? That might be another car review. And hi, Ethan. Wilda, yeah, I'm all good. My finger, there's like no pain here anymore. So there was just that pain that first night, and then they gave me that Toradol shot in my arm, and I've been fantastic since. I haven't even needed to fill the prescription that they gave me for the pain meds, so that's been awesome, honestly. Hey Ryan, what's up? Also, Fox, how you doing? I mean, to be honest, I'd love to be able to review your little WRX. And I already know that video is not going to do like numbers on here, but it would be a fun experience to be able to do that, honestly. And what would be kind of fun to do is like if I can review that Subaru that my buddy is hopefully picking up, and then review your WRX and kind of compare the two. Obviously, they're different generations because like your Subaru is like a 2015 or whatever, which is like 2 generations after. But I think actually your Subaru is I think even newer than that. But regardless, like where this would be more of like a Hawkeye Subaru, right? So it's like that generation of like an 07-ish. Yeah, 2011 GR chassis. Yeah. Well, see, and here's the thing too, that I want to do because okay, so Kelly, who's on here all the time in a lot of my live streams and a lot of my comment sections, everything, they're actually the first one to order some of my merch, which is freaking awesome, honestly. And they got their first shirt just the other day, so they were going to wear it apparently today, which is just super cool to be able to see that. And like I'm waiting for my stuff to come in. Like I ordered a shirt myself, so then I can actually have something to show off, because right now I don't. But, and okay, yours is the last, the EJ. Fair enough, fair enough. Honestly, like the EJ is actually not a bad platform of engines, at least if you have the non-turbo versions, but yours being a WRX would have the turbo, I'm assuming. Which is, again, not a bad thing. But they obviously have like oiling issues, and they can get piston slap and burn oil, all that different shit. It's not as fun. Now, okay, somebody is in the chat asking for a shout out. Here's the thing. I only shout out certain people that have been here for a long time and are like a great contributor to the channel. I've never seen you in my chat ever. So there's that. And you just topped up the oil today? Yeah, exactly. See, that Subaru things. And even like this one, burns oil, apparently. That's its biggest sort of issue. And also it's got like a bunch of rust in it, but like a lot of Bondo. It's not expensive though. Like I would potentially buy this thing if I had the money for it, but I am just flat ass broke. But however, with so with Kelly though that I was mentioning, in like they're not in the chat right now, but or at least I don't think so, because normally they'd be talking at this point. Kelly has a flare side 93, 94. I can't remember the exact year. Single cab, like flare side OBS Ford. It is a 306 with the M50D 5-speed manual, and it's 4x4. Which is like, that is a dream spec for me, honestly. So that might actually replace Mousetrap. I want to, like, don't get me wrong, Mousetrap is a cool truck and everything, but she just needs so much work that getting into something that doesn't need as much, and that I might actually be able to get more sponsorship opportunities with, because the problem is all my sponsorships usually deal with like more modern vehicles. Typically, like they have stuff for classics, but not as much. So having like the OBS Ford would be perfect, and I can still use it for every intended purpose that I need to. It's and so who knows? That might actually be in my life. And yes, I am live a little earlier because I saw your comment on the video, and you're just like, dang, you're always live so late. So I decided to go live earlier tonight because I was going to do potentially a TikTok live. I'm like, mind you, I might still do a TikTok live later, but instead I'm here with y'all because you are a better community than my TikTok community. My TikTok community is awesome, but it invites a lot more trolls and whatever else, which is the kind of gamble, where here it doesn't. It's awesome, honestly. Yeah, well, and that's the thing. Like, so owning a rotary, obviously, the challenges of a rotary. Like, and even a friend of mine actually recently picked up about a month ago an FC turbo. It's built out, and it'll make about 350-ish horsepower once it's actually like fixed properly, because it's got like the turbo seals leak, and there's a couple other little things that's just wrong with it. And it's just not making the power that it should. But that thing though, like, she's out in BC, and she actually said if I ever get out to the Victoria area, because that's where she is, that I'd be able to review that car, which is freaking sweet. So that might be a road trip that I do. Plus, there's other people out there too. Like, if Lauren, which is a good friend of mine, she has an S197 Shelby Mustang. Can't remember the exact year. I think hers is like a 2012 or something like that. And so I'd be able to actually review that as well. And then the most exciting of all of them is I might have an opportunity. Again, it's gonna take some time for this, and it probably wouldn't be until next year because of, with winter setting in and all that stuff. But I might get the opportunity to review just about every 13-year-old kid's poster car since the 1980s. And that is a Lamborghini Countach. Now, I already know that I am not probably going to like driving it because I've heard that they're awful to drive. But the opportunity to be able to do it is just incredible. Oh, you bet your ass I'm going to do the reversing thing on camera. I have to do that. Ooh, a magenta silver cab Dodge Dakota. Yeah, to be honest, that'd be kind of neat. I know exactly how they drive, because I've driven a few, but I've never actually filmed it. To be fair, so yeah, I would 100% do that because why not? But also like I want to do a sort of I want to do a dueling car review. So as an example, do a review of my truck, which I already have done that technically, but I want this all in one video, so I completely reshoot this. Do a review of Mousetrap, and then do a review of Kelly's truck, which is that OBS Ford that I was talking about. They're both very similar in being a 306 and a manual, but that was a 5-speed, mine's a 4-speed. That's 4x4, short box. Mine's a long box, 2-wheel drive. And just the little things like that. It'd be kind of cool if I could convince Kelly to drive the OBS while I drive Mousetrap, and just see how much slower Mousetrap would be comparatively. I'm really curious about that. It'd be kind of a fun video that way. And I could make a bunch of clips from it, and it could potentially do fairly well. Because you don't typically see car reviews of something really old versus somewhat newer, but still old. It's kind of cool. And you want to do a 13B in the Civic? That would be very fascinating to do. It'd be an awesome thing. Like, very lightweight and revs to the moon, which is what Hondas do. So yeah, 100%. Oh yeah, there's still other RX-7s out there, and whatever else. And that's the thing. I'd love to do like a review of an RX-7. I don't care if it's a first, a second, or a third gen. And again, I'm gonna have that opportunity next summer, maybe. It has to work out properly for everybody involved, with Chloe, myself, and then with Lauren and myself, because I do both of those reviews while I'm out there. So we'll see. It was your phone that died last night. Fair enough. Because it was like, it was perfect timing when we were talking about that whole baseball rule thing, and then we thought you were upset, to be honest, and then you just left. That's what it seemed like. But if it was just your phone dying, fair enough. Well, but again, so Austin, it was misunderstood what we were talking about last night. So, right now in baseball, you cannot challenge the pitch call. Yes, you can challenge if a player was hit by the pitch. Yes, you can do that, but you can't challenge whether it is a ball or a strike. Not until next season. That's what me and Christina were trying to tell you, but you weren't listening to that. Hey, no worries, Ryan. Take care, dude. And I would catch you later, man. See, no, I like that new rule. Are you kidding me? That's a fantastic rule. Because the Jays got fucked over in the World Series because of not being able to challenge the pitch call. And it was just atrocious. Honestly. If you watch those pitches, oh, dear Lord. And what they were calling them, right? Because umpires are just garbage when it comes to doing their job. Yeah, and it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be. That's the difference. That's what I'm getting at. Is it shouldn't be part of the game. And it's one thing, because all I want is consistency. That's it, in baseball. It's one thing if, okay, this one's way outside by a couple inches, and that's called a strike for some reason. It's like, okay, for the rest of that game, that should be a strike if the pitch is in that exact spot, but then the next one goes to that exact same spot and it's a ball. It's like, what? Consistency. That's all I want. You found a 19mm Husky wrench in your engine bay. Mint. Alright. Okay. My phone is clearly listening to me. Because we were talking about Subarus and whatever else just a few minutes ago. Right? And, well, Facebook popped up that there's a WRX for sale. Like, bro. Like, it's just that's funny. That is really funny that popped up. Which I only get that on this phone. I don't get the Facebook notifications on this one for like stuff going for sale. It's kind of weird. But and here's the thing. Hockey isn't hockey without a fight. That's not true at all. There's many hockey games that you don't have fights. Although last night's Flames game versus Chicago, there was 3 fights. Not that any of those did anything for the game, but it's fine. Because fighting has its place in hockey, but last night it didn't make any sense for any of those fights to happen. Because it didn't do anything. That's the challenge. So here's the thing. If I was to get a Subaru, it is not going to be anything that is like a newer sort of style with like an EJ in it. I highly doubt it. I'd be getting like an old Subaru GL or like a Subaru Brat or like an XT, something along those lines is what I'd get if I was going to buy a Subaru. Because they're unique, they're weird, and it's right up my alley, right? Where, like, don't get me wrong, I like Imprezas, absolutely, but I just don't necessarily want an Impreza, you know? And that's the big difference. You know, like, a Legacy would be kind of interesting, but again, it's still not weird enough. Like, now, I don't an SVX, because that's weird enough for me. Like, because here's the thing, and you guys should know this. You all should know this if you followed my channel for long enough. The weirder it is, the more I want it, right? Like, one of my absolute dream cars, which is actually a very attainable dream car, is a Toyota Sandero, right? They're a weird little car. They use the same running gear as, like, a Toyota, like, Echo, to be honest. But yet they have, like, glass all over the place, and they have butterfly doors. Like, they're just a weird car, and I love it. You know? Yeah, see, I don't have any interest in doing storm chasing. But then, like, something else, I want to get into rally racing. You know, I do. And I've had an idea. I just have to see if Pat would be on board for it. So, my buddy Pat has a 3rd-gen Supra that is just rotten. It runs and drives pretty good, but apparently it's very, very rotten. And I've had the idea just recently of like, what about turning that into a rally car? You know, it would be really cool, honestly. So we'll see if that becomes a thing in my future. Who knows? Like, there's a lot of different builds I want to do. And like I said, I've been very interested in rally racing and want to sort of get into it a little bit. I don't necessarily need to, like, go full deep into it, because if I build a rally car, it'd still be a street-legal rally car. So do bear that in mind, right? I'm not building a full-on race car. It doesn't really do anything for me to do so. Well, see, exactly. Well, and again, a 3rd-gen Supra is rear-wheel drive. You know, like, and I don't want a 4-wheel drive rally car. I don't, because I am so used to rear-wheel drive. You know, give me a rear-wheel drive stick with a limited slip out back. Like, yes, please. And because the thing is, I've done it in small capacities, but never like an official rally. Like, yes, last year, or actually earlier this year, to be fair, I did I worked for as a mechanic for the rally team, and then not only that, but I also was driving on those roads, and I even sort of raced a Silverado on those roads. It was fantastic, honestly, and I love it. I love it. And and even with Stitch, because you guys have seen me do with my cars, doing those massive slides, whatever else in the wintertime. Because yeah, I love to do it. And it's like the one time a year where I can have the most fun with my vehicles because they're so underpowered, right? You can't really do much with my truck or with Stitch unless if the conditions call for it, right? Now Stitch is fun because she's a road race car or whatever else that I'm building. But she'll still be a street legal car. But there is so much stuff happening in sort of the background potentially with that car that might happen throughout the wintertime. Potentially. So my Mustang, okay, we might be playing around with carbon fiber as an example with the car. Might actually be playing with a little more structure and a roll bar and stuff like that with the car. And there's obviously the long tube header is going to get installed sometime when the head is also installed for that tri-power setup with the 3 1-barrels and stuff, which it's going to be interesting how I even set that up. And I don't know how exactly I'm going to do it. I know I want to use Carter YFA carburetors, but beyond that, I don't exactly know how to do the whole progressive throttle setups and stuff like that. That's going to be something to potentially talk to Pat about. Not that he's a huge proponent of carburation. He actually loves doing, fuel injected stuff. And then there's my other friend, which is Roy Marco, and he knows carburetors very well, and he's probably going to be the one that I talk to about that. And just see. And again, I'm not taking a Sawzall to the interior of my car. No, not doing that. And also, a front-wheel drive rally car, I don't have any interest in that. Because, here's the thing. Front-wheel drive rally cars, they're great. And, I have felt how, front-wheel drive feels. After all, I did actually learn to drive in a front-wheel drive. It was a Saturn SC2. That was the very first car that I actually learned to drive properly in. Because I had driven cars prior to that, but never of any significance. So, but I didn't really push his car all that much. However, in the wintertime and stuff like that, and how it kind of slides and whatever. But the one thing I don't like about front-wheel drive rallying as much is you're fighting physics with a front-wheel drive. Because, so, we all know that when we hit the throttle on our vehicle, what happens? Obviously, it flips your throttle body or your carburetor and everything open and sprays extra fuel into, your engine. But not only that, but also, because of physics, weight transfer starts to do this and goes to the back of the vehicle. That's why Porsche 911s and stuff like that were such successful rally cars, because their engine's already in the back, and they were able to get that better traction on the drivetrans. But then the only challenge is that the weight up front is, a lot lighter too, so you can't handle quite as well, but you can power through it. So with a front-wheel drive that way, especially if it's a high-powered front-wheel drive on a rally course, you can actually have issues when it comes to that. That's why I'm not a proponent of it. That's why I like rear-wheel drive or potentially four-wheel drive. But, rear-wheel drive in my case. Yeah, but I'm not cutting the interior of Stitch apart, though. I refuse to do that. Because I still want the car to be somewhat safe. The only time I'd maybe, gut the doors or whatever else like that way, is if I had a roll cage in the car. If I didn't have a roll cage, not fucking doing that. Hell no. And here's the thing, though. Because, we haven't talked at length about it, but Pat is really interested in carbon fiber and he wants to play with it a bunch. And I told him, well, we can do some stuff on mine. Like, as an example, I'd love for just about everything on my car to be carbon fiber. Rear quarters, carbon fiber. Front fenders, carbon fiber. Doors, carbon fiber. Hood, carbon fiber. Trunk, carbon fiber. Like, I'd love it all. And then to have, as an example, like the hood set up to where the hood scoop isn't like a removable thing. It's like properly in there. We could do that and then make it functional and have it so that I can block it off if need be for if there's weather or whatever else that I have to contend with. Right? Like, it's one of those things. It'd be awesome. That can work, but also at the same time, you still run into the same issues. It helps a little bit with doing that, but you're still going to run into those other issues, right? That I was talking about with no matter what, you'll always fight physics with a front wheel drive. You just will. It's just a given, and there's no real way to properly combat it. Like you can help it out a little bit, but not a ton. But like, and even with Stitch, like something I want to do is put an independent rear suspension in it. I had a conversation actually on a different live stream on TikTok with a guy, and he was talking about why don't I just put like panhard bars on my car? Which, don't get me wrong, that's probably one of the next things I do. But the thing is, doing like a panhard bar is great for handling whatever else, but I'd much rather have an independent rear suspension with panhard bars on top of it. It would make the handling be a lot better on the back end, and it would make the chassis obviously a little stiffer and stuff like that too with the panhard bars, and it'd just be great. Like, and that's the name of the game that I'm doing with Stitch, is doing these sort of like making it into a road race car, and it's just fun, honestly. So we'll see how that goes, but I don't know. Like, we'll see. We'll definitely see how everything kind of works out and whatever else, and who knows how much stuff we actually get done. Because as well, like, I don't want to take up too much of Pat's time because he's got a lot of stuff on the go, whatever else. But I have told him that if he ever needs or wants help on his vehicles, just hit me up. I'd be more than willing to help him out. And like, Pat's a decent friend of mine. We've known each other for a little while now, and he was a fan of my YouTube channel, and then he invited me out to do like reviews of his vehicles and stuff like that, which I haven't been able to review his one Supra. I still have the footage, but still haven't been able to do it yet. And somebody just sent me a message on Messenger. That should pop up on the screen here. Oh, that was just my dad sending an attachment. All right, that doesn't matter. But yeah. Yeah, exactly. And that's the problem with front wheel drive that way. Like, and that's why I'm not a proponent of front wheel drive as much as other people. Like, unless if you have the front wheel drive in a different setup. Like, as an example, the front wheel drives that are not super light. So, as an example, when it comes to like an Oldsmobile Tornado with their big blocks, whatever else, it's really heavy with the transaxle that they kind of use. But it's weird because they use like a modified Turbo 400 for it, and it goes back to like, it has the shortened Turbo 400, and then it goes to the front of the vehicle, and it works that way. And those tend to not have as much issues with that, especially if you put like a stiffer suspension in them and stuff like that. But it's that whole thing. And I don't get why this guy is trying to say this shit, because like, hi, I'm a lesbian. I am a woman. Yes, I have a slightly deeper voice than most women. Sorry that I cannot be up to your standards that way. I don't really give a shit, though. So there's that. So have fun there, Dean. And welcome to the live stream there, Daniel. How goes it? Ugh. All right. So, anyways, yeah, it's one of those like interesting things. And now like with because something that might be happening as well, I might be getting my hands on a T56 manual. Like, so that's a 6-speed, right? Awesome transmissions. And the thing is, I've always wanted a T56 in Stitch. It's stupid? Yes. It's overkill? Absolutely. But super strong. Never ever have an issue with it. And overall, it would just be awesome. Genuinely. So, I don't know. We'll see if that actually works out. But the problem is the T56, obviously, they are an integral bell housing. And as a result, you can't, like, I can't put it behind my inline 6 Fox body. At least easily. I'd have to find somebody that would be able to, modify that so that the bell housing that I kind of have would kind of work with it, to a certain degree, or build like a custom bell housing for it that way. Because the problem is, well, it's set up for a small block Ford, which would fit perfectly on my truck. Don't get me wrong, but we'll see. Like, if I can get it to somehow work, and if I can get somebody that would be willing to do it, then that transmission would go in Stitch. Otherwise, that transmission would go in my truck. So, we'll see. Yeah, you were mentioning that before, actually, with that Cutlass, and which 125 shot. I'm surprised it was able to hold up as well, because those 3.1s aren't notorious for being super strong. But like normally when you talk about like super strong V6s from GM, you talk about like the Buick 3.8 and stuff like that. But yeah, it's that whole thing. Well, oddly enough, actually, right now, so it's not a Cutlass, but it has a 3.1 in it, and what the vehicle actually is a first-gen GTP. It's a 91. Now, it's been rear-ended, unfortunately, so that's the reason why they're selling it. And it got written off, and, they're just trying to offload it. They're asking too much for it, but it is on Marketplace, and it's like, that's freaking cool, honestly. And I'm a big fan of those first-gen GTPs, but I don't feel like trying to fix crash damage. That's a lot of fucking work, because it got rear-ended. So, but I'd love to get the seats out of one of those. Like, they are amazing ass seats that they put in those GTPs, because they're like very comfy and they hug you so well. So who knows? That might be something that I look into in the future. But I'd get it recovered, because they're all leather, and I get that recovered to be like in a fabric of some description. Just because I don't want to slide around on the effing seat. I don't want to burn myself when I get into my vehicle. Because I freaking hate leather. I'm not a fan of it. It gets way too cold and it gets way too hot. Yeah, easy to clean, but beyond that, I'm not a big fan of it. So I don't know. We shall see, what I do with seats and stuff like that. Because with my truck, if I happen to keep my truck, I do want to swap out that bench seat for like some more comfortable buckets, or even a more comfortable bench. I'm okay with that. But we'll see. We'll see. Because like I truthfully do not know exactly what all I want to do when it comes to that. So who knows? Who knows? Because yeah, there is a lot of ideas that I have, and my stuff changes all the time. Well, I don't have an F-150. I have an F-250. But the thing is, there is thoughts of putting a turbo on my truck. Because I have the turbo. I'm not putting the turbo on Stitch at this point, because I'm not boost referencing 3 carburetors. No, thank you. That's a fucking nightmare. So, turboing the truck is of interest. I don't know when it might happen, but it might happen. And when I first got the car, I thought about putting a V8 into it. Now, No. I've spent far too much to retain the inline six. It's not worth it. And my whole brand is about inline sixes. And especially with that car. Putting a V8 into it, to me, ruins the car. And that's... And it's not necessarily, like, it ruins the car for me. It wouldn't ruin it for other people, but it ruins it for me. Because my whole thing, and I've been so against doing a V8 swap in it, that it for me, it's not worth it. I'd much rather... So, okay, I've already kind of looked into it, and it would cost me, give or take, about $2,000 to upgrade everything so that the V8 is actually viable in the vehicle. And that's coming down to needing a different flywheel, clutch, starter, bell housing, different suspension, different brakes, different K-member, all that different stuff. It adds up, right? And plus, even finding a 302 that people don't want a bunch for, which is typically going to be like your low compression, 157 horsepower 302 with a 2-barrel on it. Why spend that much money to gain, like, spend $2,000 and gain about 30 horsepower from where I'm currently at? Where I could spend $2,000 and build my engine and make it make almost 300 horsepower. I could do it. To be honest, with that kind of a budget, I'd be within that realm. And it's just one of those things to where a V8 makes no sense to me. I'd much rather also have the unique factor of the straight six, and I'd also have the fuel economy of the straight six as well on top of that. It's just a win, And having, like, like I said, I'm just so invested in that little 200 that I can't bring myself to, swap it out. And if I did swap it out, it'd be for a different 200. Maybe a 250, but most likely a 200 though. But if I did it like a 250, then the T56 would be a lot easier to put in, or even a later 200 with small block 4 bell housing pattern. I could do it that way, and then put the tri-power intake and head on that engine as an example. So I don't know. We'll see. How it all works out. Again, I don't want to boost reference 3 carburetors. I'm going to be running a tri-power setup. That is an absolute fucking nightmare for me to turbo stitch with 3 1-barrel carbs. I refuse to even attempt it. Because there'd be a lot of trial and error, and I'd drive myself mad doing it. I just know that. Because it's also trying to figure it out. Now, with fuel injection, it'd be a lot easier. But with carburetors, it's like, no, it's just not there. Well, see, and here's the thing. I have forged connecting rods. They're in my shed. I would need to get different rod bolts, though. Don't get me wrong. But yeah, it's one of those deals. So I have those. Like, I could build my engine to be an absolute monster of a little straight six. I could. It's not really the goal, though. Like, I only want to make about 300 horsepower when it's all said and done. So I don't need to light the world on fire with the car, to be honest. Because I've driven Fox bodies around that power, and they're an animal. They really are. Because, like, Fox bodies don't weigh very much, right? And you have no... like, I don't know if there's another vehicle out there that feels quite like a Fox body with how little they weigh and with how much power, they can make and stuff like that. It's kind of unique. Because you also got a 4-link in the back, too, right? From factory. Where a lot of the cars that, might be around the same weight, they have leaf springs, and stuff like that, where it's not a 4-link or anything. So it's just very traditional. Yeah, exactly. Like, in that territory, I'd be ecstatic with that. Because I'd be lighter and faster than a lot of these quote-unquote built Fox bodies. I would. Anything with a 5-liter that doesn't have forced induction on it, I'm probably beating at that point because I'm a hell of a lot lighter. Like, my car, when it's all said and done with everything, I'd love it to be under, 2,400 pounds. It's kind of the goal with the car. And we'll see. Because, like, the car, when she was bone stock, this is still with the, the original exhaust on it and everything, was 2,680 pounds, right? I don't know if she's heavier or lighter than stock, just because I've done some stuff to make it heavier. Like the Capri front end, I'm pretty sure is heavier than the Mustang front end. The whale tail obviously adds a little bit of weight. The louvers, it's not much, but it adds a little bit. The rear end is heavier, but the transmission's a lot lighter. I don't know where it's at, and I need to get it on the scales to really find out. Which I just need to go to like a weight scale on the side of the road, whatever else, and just get it weighed and, be easy. There's even like a weight scale here in town, which I could actually try, because I don't know as well if I drive up on their platform, if it'll give me the weight properly when they're closed. I don't know. Exactly, right? Like, and my little inline 6, like, at idle, sounds like a 302. But then when you rip on it, it gives a very unique noise. And I love that. Yeah, not that far, depending on the Civic. Yeah, I'm not terribly far in the grand scheme of things. Like, I want to say the car right now is around, I don't know, 2,650-ish would be my guess at the moment. It could be higher than that, it could be lower. I don't know. And it's one of these things. But even like my strut brace, my subframe connectors, that's, more weight. The seats are actually lighter than the stock ones. So there's that. But, we'll see. Yeah, your Accord's 3,000 before you go to the interior? That sounds about right. Depending on what year of Accord, yeah. Because I think you've mentioned it's like a 95 or something like that in the chat before. Or maybe even newer than that. But yeah, like, and that's the thing. I want it to be a decent performer without, it trying to kill me. Because you can overbuild a vehicle and make it just be an absolute animal. I'm not interested in that as much. I want something fast, at least fast for me. Because, yes, I've driven cars that are 600-700 horsepower. And I can do it. But that's not what I wanted to stitch, Because when you get into that territory of a car, you're turning into a drag car, especially with a Mustang, So rather, have something that might not have the power of, some of these other cars, but be a hell of a lot lighter and just smoke them on the road course. And I'd love for Stitch to have an, inboard suspension in the rear. That would be killer, honestly. Make my kind of own GTD, but it be a Fox body with a straight 6. Be kind of fun. So we'll see. It's an 03 Accord and a 97 Civic. Got you. Yeah. So yeah, that'd be an that'd be an EK Civic, I think, in that year. It's either that year or the year after the EK. I believe it was that year. And then that Accord, okay, it's that generation. I can see it in my head. Well, I mean, you could always get air conditioning, like one of those aftermarket air conditioning units. They do work, but yeah, they're pricey though. They're definitely pricey. But I don't know. That's kind of the challenge too if you have AC, whatever else, which I've never owned a vehicle that had functional AC. Even even Lilo's AC never worked. So there's that. But like Stitch never had AC. The T-Birds never had functional AC, not since it's been in my possession. And my trucks has never had AC. Actually, correction. One truck I did have had AC. My 94 Chevy 1500. It did have functional AC actually, but I only owned that thing for 2 weeks, so there's that. My van Dura didn't have AC, I don't think. So you're trying to sell some tools to get it? That's fair. I mean, that'd be worth it, 100%. Like, AC is a wonderful thing. You know, I'm so used to not having it that it's just a whatever. But especially in like newer vehicles, to where, so as an example, like your Civic and your Accord probably suck for going down the road with the window down, because it probably like is gonna be a lot of flutter and whatever else with the wind. Where something that has the aerodynamics of my vehicles, they're designed to have the windows down so they don't do that, and it's just so much nicer. And I can do like a redneck AC and stitch, to be honest, because all I need to do is on my cowl, I could get like an ice pack and like bungee it to the cowl, and then as I'm driving down the road, until it actually like warms up too much and it wouldn't be cool anymore, but I could have AC for a while that would blow through my vents. Could do it, but I've never tried it. But who knows? Someday, maybe. Oh, that's fair. That's fair. And that's cool, honestly. Because most people with that Civic would modify the shit of it. And case in point, I'd be one of those people. Because for me, it's a Civic. It doesn't really concern me if it's, you know, original numbers matching, whatever else like that, because it's Civic. For me, I just want to make stuff that is just, you know, I always want to modify. I don't really want to keep stuff typically stock. I always want to do something to it. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. But I know, like, if I got something newer, it'd make my sponsors happy. I know that. Because I'd be able to do a lot more videos with the sponsors and stuff and make that work. Because right now with the classics, I don't have a lot of opportunities to do videos with the classics with sponsorships. Obviously, I have, like, I did that LED install video the other day, and then there is the other sort of stuff I've done. But yeah. Okay. No, that's fair. And that's the thing, because if you hone it too far, you can technically like bore it out, and it can be really bad. That's kind of the challenge. Like, that's how. And actually, a 1,200 horsepower Barra in a Fox body, yeah, the Barras are badass. You know, like, and I'm not opposed to a Barra swap. I'm not. It's just the problem is I kind of need to have like any engine I get, I want to make sure I can actually get the parts here. Right? I don't want to have to wait 2 months for a part to be shipped from Australia. You know? Like, if I need something. And that's kind of the challenge, right, with the Barra, because there isn't much that interchanges with it over here. So, like, I can't go to my local Napa and be like, hey, I need a starter for this. You know. Oh, hey, I need a flywheel for this. No. Like, not that I could technically do some of that with my car, to be fair, but yeah. Nice. Nice. That's all right. And hey, so you're hot rodding it a little bit, which is cool. It's cool. You just need another D series. I mean, D series are plentiful. You know, very plentiful. Like, I'd be interested in owning an older Honda. Again, like, I had the first gen Civic, but that never worked out. It needed a lot of effing work. And money just wasn't there, and parts were unobtainium. So then, unfortunately, Papa Smurf got sold, and she's gone now, which sucks. Oh yeah, and the Barros are definitely a really cool swap. I love people that actually play with the Barros over here. Like, there's a couple of Barra swap stuff here in Alberta. It's not a lot. You know, it might be like 5 or 6 cars total. But yeah. See, I'd want something older than a Teggy though. Like, um, like again, I'd want like I don't know, like a second gen Prelude as an example would be something I'd be after. Especially like the 4-wheel steering ones would be fun. Because like the first gen first gen Integras don't do much for me, to be fair. But like, cause if I remember correctly, because there's like if I look up the Integra really quick. I'm gonna do Honda Integra because it's the same fucking thing. It doesn't matter. Yeah, like the first gen. Actually, that is kind of cool, but have fun trying to find one. Like that'd be a freaking nightmare to find one of those around. Because I don't know if I've ever seen one. Like I typically see the later ones, and because it kind of looks sort of Prelude but smaller, which is cool, honestly. Yeah, like, and I know the second gen and the third gens rate the most. So yeah. Listen, the bar swaps are not as uncommon as you think. Like, yeah, they don't happen every day, but the Bara is getting more popular because people are starting to discover the Bara, and it's like, oh, hey, this is a great motor. So there's that. Well, it can. It's one of these things. Like, yes, I do. Like, people know I buy cars, I have fun with it, I flip it. Yeah, I've done it more than once. But I don't know. Like, the Fox bodies are the easiest for me to do that with because they're like, it's what I know. And older vehicles like that. Because even like with my truck, I could make money on it right now. Like, I could sell the thing for like probably $2,000. You know, just get rid of it if I wanted to. Not necessarily going to, but I could. So I don't know. We'll see. Yeah, and again, like I said, I'm not putting a Bara in anything I own though. I don't want something that'd be a nightmare to find parts for. I already had that. First gen Civic, nightmare to find parts for. Um, you know, and even like my Fox body can be difficult to find some parts for. It's still pretty easy, but at the same time difficult. You know, exactly, it is. Like the Bara and the 2J can go blow for the most part till about 800 or 900 horsepower. Then the 2J just takes off from it. But because even the most power out of a straight six is the 2J, you know, because nobody's taken a bar to those heights yet. Like people have made 2,000-3,000 horsepower bars, but there's like 5,000 horsepower 2Js. So there's that. O'Reilly's and Advance got everything. We don't have O'Reilly's up here, so there's that. And Advance doesn't have shit for anything that doesn't come out here. Like I promise you that. Because even like trying to find parts for that Civic, no, nobody had anything for it. I called Lordco. I called freaking Auto Parts Authority in Edmonton. I called Canadian Tire. I called Napa. I called Bumper to Bumper. I called basically everybody that I could. Zero parts availability. So yeah, no, trust me. Trust me. There isn't the parts that you think that are for some of these vehicles. Oh well, yeah. I mean, and to be honest, anybody that has a 2J is going to do aftermarket internals typically on them anyways. So, and but yeah, that's one of these things. Like I said, I'm just gonna keep with my 200. Who knows? I might end up doing because it's same internals and shit. Like, who knows? In the future, I might get a Crossflow 250 from Australia. It's a possibility. Because, again, everything internally to that motor, I'm pretty sure interchanges with these American 200s. You know, I'm quite positive of that. It's just the head that's different. You know? So, I've thought about it. And, wow, why am I so tired? Holy crap. I mean, it might be part of the time change, to be honest, but I freaking hate it. You know, they get dark at, like, 5 o'clock. So annoying. But yeah, like, and who knows exactly what all will happen with my builds and what I get in the future, because you never know. I might get something that's totally just weird and bizarre that nobody's ever freaking heard of, you know, someday, and build it. It's a possibility. Because after all, I'm starting to meet people that can, like, make me shit and whatever else. And okay, Austin, you share a live when you know I'm still live on YouTube, dude. I'm not jumping into your freaking live stream on TikTok. Like, Jesus, man. See, I've never had a Red Bull. You know, I don't, but I don't partake in drinking energy drinks. You know, when I was working night shift, I probably should have, but never did, so. Oh, frick. Just very tired. You know, and then, like, yeah, and tomorrow, because tomorrow the weather's actually supposed to be decent, so I am going to swap out to the winter tires on Stitch. And then I need to do a bunch of cleaning around here. And then I also will gonna finish modding the floor pan just so that I can actually drive the truck without it catching the throttle. Because I dealt with that. Luckily, it's a freaking manual, so you can quickly get it into neutral very easily when it does that. But still. But yeah, and then of course, like I said, my dad's truck is coming back, you know, on Monday, so we'll do a little bit of work to that thing. I'll get that review out on my OBD2 scanner, and go from there. So it's basically where I'm at for videos at the moment. Like I said, I've been dying because I need more videos. Really do. But although I do think, because I think I'm gonna try and have a little bit of a nap. To be honest, because I'm really tired, and I could use that little bit of sleep because I haven't been sleeping as much as I'd like to lately. So I will let you guys go. I appreciate everybody hopping into live. It was a fun live stream. Thank you for the people that actually chatted. It makes my life a lot easier, so that I'm not just, you know, tap dancing all the time. Take care of yourselves, and I'll catch you in the next one. I don't know when the next time I'll do a live stream, but we'll see. So anyways, peace out.